Good evening, social media. You guys don't hear feedback, do you?
No,
everything's good.
Good. My name is Earl Rush, aka the Sports Doctor, and I want to welcome you guys to watching Real Fellas Talk Sports. Now, mind you, we don't argue sports; we discuss sports. And I'm here for the St. Anthony Takeovers Part 2. Okay. All three of our panelists on today's show attended St. Anthony High School in Washington, D.C. together.
Yes, sir.
And they know each other pretty well. And so it's going to be a whole lot of great talking tonight. And they all somewhat know sports and speak it intelligently. Now, we have a few exceptions, but we don't need to call no names or call them.
My bad.
All right, let's get to the panel. And first of all, Charles, can you introduce our special guest tonight?
I can, Earl. Thank you. And by the way, Earl, thanks for the opening. And I look forward to you hosting the show tonight. Earl, you know this is one of my favorite times of the week, 8 o'clock Wednesday. We're going to chop it up, and we're going to chop it up again tonight. But yes, our special guest is Mr. Kevin McNutt. I know him as Monica's father.
Oh, wow.
Monica is doing a fantastic job with ESPN. She's working the NBA Finals. You can see her on Around the Horn. You can see her on, not PTI, but on various different shows. She did the ladies NCAA tournament. She's fabulous. She's one of the rising stars on ESPN. And we are lucky and fortunate tonight to have her daddy.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Kevin McNutt, who, by the way, he played point guard at St. Anthony's. He played in college at George Mason. He's written a couple of books. He refereed for over 35 years. He's opinionated. He's a great guy. He knows basketball, especially in the DMV. He knows everything and seen everything. And I'm just so glad he was able to join us this evening. So welcome, Kevin.
Yeah, I got you. And I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that tribute to my baby. Well in hand. But understand, I'm a legend in this town, my damn self. You know what I'm saying? You have my resume. But that's okay. That's my baby, and I love her. And I understand where you're coming from. You are her PR agent and president of a fan club. So I'm going to pass on that.
All right. And we got my main man, Larry Abels, in the house. Larry, how are you today?
I'm great, Earl, and it's good to be here with you, Kevin, and Charles Snowden III's dad.
There we go.
Chicago Bears, one of my favorite. He is my favorite NFL player. And you can catch him on Sunday and Monday nights, and he was a big star down in Virginia, University of Virginia as well.
There we go.
Okay.
Very nice of you, Larry. Thank you.
Okay, let's get to it, guys. And Charles, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Earl. I really am. I can't wait to get started.
I asked everybody else. I may as well ask you.
Grudgingly.
You know how we go.
Not like you top liver enough. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Hey, Earl, I know we getting in here, but I was on. I guess it was back in March. So there's two things I got to do here. Well, actually three. One that I give because we did our NBA predictions, right?
Right.
And one of our listeners in San Francisco in the Bay Area called me the next day and said, "Y'all boys, talking about the four of us, have an East Coast bias." And you did not show no love to the West Coast.
You know what he's talking about?
Right. This is one of our St. Anthony people, Karen Stroud, my Southeast sister. We rode together.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. Hit me the next morning on West Coast time and said y'all had an East Coast bias. Y'all didn't mention Golden State, and I didn't. And I'm guilty, so I got to clear my mess tonight because I gave all my love to the Phoenix Suns. And they bowed out. They got scared and ran away from Lucas, Chuck's boy.
Yeah.
So I got to clean that up and say my bad on that one. You understand what I'm saying? Now that's one. So I got to apologize to the Golden State fans because they are here. And the other one, I had several members hit me up. Understand where I'm going here and say, "Man, did you know that's Go-Go Earl?" I said, he's a legend. I said, well, tell me more. Hey, man, they put so much butter on you, man. They say you undefeated. They say people go to the party and want to call you out, and you just blown away like you was Adrian Dantley or somebody. Adrian Dantley on the dance floor. I said, what is this? So I went deeper, man. They telling me, let me see here. I had to write down some stuff. They said, man, you was at Black Caucus functions, hotel ballrooms, Grand Hyatt. I say, what?
Yeah,
Tell me
ran
more,
into some
soldier. I mean, I'm sure you talked about it, but you got to tell me more because you know what I'm saying.
We'll talk after the show.
Man, you're going to be humble on me, man.
No. As I told you earlier, I am not a legend. I am a dancing MF, but I am not a legend. If I was, I'd be the first one to tell you.
That's not the way I heard it, man.
All right. So let's get to the sports, guys.
Right.
Kevin, give us the lowdown on the first game between Boston and Golden State. What were your thoughts on that? First game.
Stunned by a 27-point turnaround?
Fourth quarter.
Because it was up 13, starting the fourth. They're going a 17-0 run against a team that at their house with a team that got 5 cats that got multiple rings, not a ring. And I'm counting, you got Iguodala, one of the big mans. I'm drawing a blank. I know Chuck know. And the big three, obviously, and Kerr, who got multiple rings as a player and coach.
Yeah.
And give up a 17-0 run. That's all I'm going to say about that. That floored me.
Yeah, that's right. Charles?
He's right. That was a little bit surprising. That was a night when Boston just couldn't miss the fourth quarter. I mean, Horford was 9 for 12. Smart was 7 for 11. Jalen couldn't miss. I mean, they just couldn't miss. They shot lights out.
The team was 21 for 41 from three. They
shot 50% from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
So they were on fire.
Yep.
And quite frankly, in that fourth quarter, Golden State was not. They shot really poorly in the fourth quarter. And so what happened. So yeah, to answer your question, that was a little surprising. But I'm telling you, Boston's got I know they don't have the rings, but they got a lot of athletes on that team.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Larry,
I looked at the first game. First game is a matter of adjustments. In the first quarter, Golden State came out very strong and looked like they was going to run Boston out of there. Second quarter, Boston came back and actually had the lead at halftime. Third quarter, Golden State, as they habitually do, came out very strong, got up by about 13. Fourth quarter, Golden State played no defense. They didn't rotate at all. Even Boston did a great job moving the ball around because Smart and Horford had a bunch of open shots, and they dropped them every time. At the same time, as both people mentioned, Golden State didn't shoot well either. So 40-16 in the fourth quarter.
Even Derek White knocked down a lot of shots in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Larry, your nephew Neil and your sister Denise and I are pulling for Golden State. When you not pulling for either one, but you think Boston might win. But were you shocked by that outcome of the game?
I was shocked by them scoring 40-16 in the fourth quarter. Yes.
Let me take that back. That's a dumb question. Anybody would be shocked that they blew Golden State by like that. I apologize for the dumb question. Let's move on.
Wasn't that dumb?
No. It was the ignorant.
The fourth quarter was shocking. I mean, like I said, they were going back and forth every other quarter. And I was scoring 40-16 in the fourth quarter. That was somewhat surprising.
I mean, you hear this all the time, Earl, that it's a miss or make league.
Yeah.
And I think that those, as Larry mentioned, all four quarters, Golden State was hot in the first quarter. Boston came back in the second quarter, was hot. Golden State went up in the third quarter, was hot. And then Boston was hot in the fourth quarter. It's a miss or make league.
Let's move on. I'm going to ask you just one question, all you guys, and then we're going to move on. I don't want to hold it up. I've been dogging around. Charles, was the second game a must-win game for Golden State?
Yes. The answer to your question, Earl, is yes. It was a must game.
Okay, Larry asked me that Sunday on the show, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
It was a must game.
Kevin, was it a must game for you?
Oh yeah, especially you lose 2 on your home floor.
Yeah.
So that means what? 3 to 5 games that remaining are on their floor. Oh yeah, done. I don't care. I don't care what championship breed you want to call them. Yeah, that it was over.
Well, damn. When Larry asked me, I didn't think it was. I thought it was a great question, but now I'm thinking about it again. Is this another dumb question that I'm asking?
No.
No, it's fair.
Okay. So Larry,
I think Larry said to us earlier that would have just put them up 2 games to none.
It's hard to beat any team 4 out of 5 games, even though we've seen that in this playoffs this year. But when you get up 2 games to none, you have to beat the other team 4 out of 5 times, and that's a challenge.
That happened in the playoffs. Dallas did it, didn't they?
Right.
That was
Right.
right. Good point.
So it just so happens that our special guest has been a referee for a while. So let me ask this question to him.
Uh-oh.
Kevin.
Yes, sir.
What did you think about how the referees handled that Draymond Green escapade?
All right. You know we want to do our run from opinion, but I got to put a disclaimer out there or editor's note. What I'm watching in the NBA is so far different than what I referee at the high school and when I did some college. I don't know what they call them. I'm confused. Now you start out with this, and I'm getting to your point. You start out with this. It's the playoffs. Things are more physical. You let things go. So they let you go, and when you drive to the basket, which these Chuck and Larry never did, but when you go to the basket, you're allowed to get bumped, Earl. You know what I'm saying, Earl?
Yeah.
You're allowed to get bumped, and you get bumped. So you knock somebody off their stride. So then they go back and they hit you with an elbow and make this contact above the neck. They call it offensive foul. But what led to that contact was the bump that they aren't calling. And I know it's playoff basketball, and you don't want guys fouling out and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't understand what they call it in the NBA, and I'm a 35-year referee.
Okay.
Now, referee pros and summer league and all that kind of stuff, that's a whole different world. But I will say this. People do not understand the size and the physicality of the professional athlete. These are big men and with attitude. So when people bark about refereeing, they ain't got a clue what that's all about. I mean, and the best seat you ever want to see it is the referees under the basket. It is the best. It's the best thing this side of football, the contact that takes place there. So now, after I said all that, Draymond Green, I got Draymond Green fatigue. I'm tired of all this stuff about him, but he's physical. I want him on my team. Mm-hmm. He can play for me any day because of what he does. He does the dirty work. I mean, everybody's barking about Draymond Green has had the headlines since game 2 ended, and he gets 6 points a game. Mm-hmm. So I want him on my team. He's a physical. He's a nuisance. He distracts. All this talk, I think, is more media generated than the Celtics, because when the Celtics are worried about Draymond Green, what's he going to do tonight? They ain't talking about getting a W. So Green, for what he does, is working. Okay. How he, the stuff you got to call what he does. The only thing that I'm upset with, but I've seen it for the whole playoffs, is that too much guys walking up to referees and complaining while somebody's at the free throw line. That's driving me crazy, and I don't understand. Scott Foster is a friend of mine. He's from D.C. And he's refereeing the game tonight. He's the best. We started together in 1984, and you can see that he was on that track to go to the NBA. He's the best there. And even he's taking a lot of chatter from these guys talking and flailing the arms and all that. That should be pops. But again, they should be popped with a technical. But they aren't. Draymond is just Draymond. You call it, and you got to get him. But it's working because, I don't know. They won the game, but they outscored them by 29 in the third quarter. I don't know if Draymond even got kicked out would make that much more of a difference. They were going to win game 2. That's a chance.
That leads me on to my next question, because our friend Charles in our meeting the other day, the first thing he came on was talking about, the refs affect the game. And I'm like, the refs didn't have anything to do with that.
They beat him by 29 in the third quarter.
No, you're right, Kevin, but they set a tone early. They let Draymond get away with running guys over. They had a guy come to the bucket and Jalen got a second foul when there was no foul, when Peyton missed the layup. Draymond was all on Tatum. Tatum, and they hit Tatum with the foul. So he had 2 fouls. Jalen had 2 fouls. It affected the way you could do the substitution pattern. And they just let Draymond, and there's a cleverness to him, I will agree, because once he gets that tech early, he knows that the refs in the NBA Finals aren't going to throw him out. And so he gets away with more dirty plays. He's a dirty, dirty, dirty player.
I don't see him as being a dirty player, and I've heard that narrative all week, since game 2 about Draymond pushes the line and he knows he's not getting thrown out. But guess what? Neither is Tatum if he gets a technical. Neither is Brown if he gets a technical. Neither is Curry if he gets a technical. They're not going to throw you out unless you do something blatant. Now, and the other thing I'm going to say this about trash talking. That's different than going and whining to the referees about that every call. Trash talking. I'm an advocate of that because I'm a DC cat. We know Dantley and John Lucas. I think I talked about this last time. So trash talking, as long as you don't go face to face and chest to chest about it, let that go. And he's doing a lot of that, a lot of talking. You are wrong about some of the foul calls. I know you're talking about one where he got in with Williams and it looked like he jumped over Williams' back. Williams was denying him position and doing it with his backside and his butt. So that was a correct call. I know
that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about when he ran Williams over. It was a football move early in the first quarter. That was really bad.
Did he get the first down?
Yeah, no kidding.
They called a foul on Williams. See, I tend to agree kind of with Chuck on, well, I don't think it cost him the game. I think actually after they called the tech on Draymond, I think he calmed down on a lot of that stuff. But he was early on, I think he got Tatum in foul trouble with 2 fouls. And then like Chuck said, the other phantom foul, that was just a missed call by the ref that Brown got. I think it took away some of their tenacity on defense.
And he won
in the game.
He won.
They had 2 fouls early in the first quarter. But other than that, Draymond to me, I hate guys that try to be tough guys. You know, it doesn't faze me. And he wasn't playing basketball, but he was in their face. And I don't think it really fazed the Celtics that much. They just didn't hit shots in the second half. I mean, that's why they lost the game. They couldn't shoot.
Well, they did another thing, too. They kept throwing the ball away. They just kept throwing the ball away.
When you got 3 starters that scored 2 points each, I mean,
there it is, buddy. Thank you.
That's a recipe for disaster.
What Draymond got to do with that? Although he was, he was defending.
Just set the tone.
Now, with respect to the refs, I would hope the refs would have looked at the game film and saw what he was doing, and then maybe pay attention this time because he was doing a whole lot of non-basketball stuff.
A lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, God bless Boston. Boston didn't get caught up in it. They didn't retaliate. But I'm telling you something. In the old days, there is a guy typically on that bench that you put in the game to retaliate to that behavior. And I thought Grant Williams would do that. I'd take that, right? Grant Williams for Draymond Green, and both of them get tossed.
Well, I think the referees should handle it. And I hope they looked at the film. I can't imagine them not looking at the game film and seeing what happened. And I would expect them to be more aware of what's going on there.
Well, I hear you, Larry, and I don't like to challenge you, but when you say that, these people look at the replays all the time and still get it wrong.
No, but I think the referees look at games and I'm hoping they evaluate what's going on. It's kind of prepare for the game and they see what's happening there. And I think they should at least be aware of things that happen.
That's a very interesting thing there. You have a pregame just as long as the players are walking up, and you have a pregame and you go over who we have tonight and so forth and so on. But you can't go. It becomes a thin line between understanding what you have and what tempo is, the meaning of the game, and going in preconceived notions of like, I'm gonna bang him if he says something to me. You know what I mean? You can't go in there with that kind of. The game 2 is over. Game 3 is set. So if you watch any kind of social media or any kind of newspaper, you know who's playing and you know who's there. Scott Foster and all those guys that make the final, they're there for a reason. So they've had these teams. I would say at least 12 times during the course of the year. But you got every game is different. He might not do those same antics, but you can't go in there with preconceived notion. The first thing he says to me, I'm getting him, I'm sticking him. You can't.
No, I'm not even suggesting that, but I think they did miss a couple of calls, like the one Chuck said where tackled the guy, and a lot of it he's initiating that contact, and he got that foul call, and he also got a call on Tatum that he initiated the contact.
So are you
he
saying
runs right into him?
So I need clarity. Are you saying that the referees missed those calls, or they missed them because it was Draymond?
That's a good question.
I think they missed them. I think they missed them.
Okay. Well, that's not Andre. So how's that Draymond's fault?
Well, hold it. I think Larry's onto something because I think they did miss like the layup when Peyton had the layup. I think they missed that call. Perhaps I don't know how they did it, but that Grant Williams call, I don't know how you could have missed that. It was right in front of us. Draymond literally just ran the guy over. And it was
you talking about the foul line, right? Away from the ball.
Right. It just wasn't right.
But see, I'm trying to explain that to you, Chuck. Okay, Boston knows the play. The play was called for Draymond to come to the high post and be like a point forward, get the ball at the top of the key and then swing the ball around. Williams knew the play. So he was denying Draymond access to the top of the key. But he wasn't doing it with legal guarding position. Legal guarding position is you face your man and you move your legs. He tried to butt him out the way like he was boxing out. And so Draymond used his shoulder swim move to climb over it. The referee saw it, depending on the angle. Referee's all about angles. Saw it the other way, and I had no problem with it, and neither did the referee in the booth.
Yeah.
So
I still think you're talking about another. It's okay.
No,
I think you're
talking
talking
about
Let's not spend a whole lot of time on the show.
Like he's talking about the same thing.
But I want to ask you guys a question. I see it was just it's on the screen here.
Felix asking us.
It is a St. Anthony's takeover, isn't it?
That was my big man.
But Felix asked an excellent question, though.
Right.
The
My
question
answer is no. My answer is no to that question.
I agree. The answer is no, because it's the playoffs. If that's a Wednesday night game, in February, you stick.
You're talking about the half court play when Draymond was on his back, and I didn't think that should have been. I
thought that was not. I wouldn't even call that during the regular season.
That's not even what I'm talking about with Draymond on that particular play. I was talking about the early stuff.
Right. But this is a play because Draymond and Green got tangled up feet, and then he said, "You standing over me," which guys don't allow. I'm telling you, that would have been called a technical foul on a Wednesday night game in February. Okay, run them. Let's get out of here. We don't need a distraction. The referee said, "Bye, both of y'all." Well, Draymond's second, he would have been gone. But again, this is the playoffs. You don't want to lose a key cog on either team at that particular point in the game. Was it second quarter?
Yeah.
And so they went to there and they said, "Okay, nothing there. Let's play on." But and I agree. I mean.
But again, Kevin, because of the first technical early in the game, if they had called the double tech, Draymond would have been out.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they didn't.
Right.
But I wouldn't have liked it in this situation because I don't think it was nothing there. I don't really think it was anything there at that time.
And that's a problem I have even with football. They want to, the NBA hierarchy or whatever, want to legislate spontaneous reaction. I got a problem like that. We are not robots. And when I say we're talking about 80% black athletes. And we are not robots. And one of the reasons why we are there at the top of the profession is because of our heart and our fire in the belly and intensity. And yet they want to penalize for spontaneous reaction, which is what happened. They got tangled up. They got up. Man, you trying to stand over me. Man, you had your foot on me. Boom, separate. Let's go. Knock off the foolishness.
I thought that was a proper call, that play.
Okay. All right. So what was the key to Golden State winning the second game, Larry? I'll start with you.
As I said a few minutes ago, 3 starters only scoring 2 points.
Huge.
That'll do it every time.
Huge.
You can't win if you got 3 starters, in not even getting 3. Think about that. That's horrible. And as Chuck mentioned earlier, turnovers.
Oh. So, okay, well, let me ask you this. Is Golden State now? I mean, I would probably say through the last couple of weeks, Boston and Miami had the best defenses for what I have seen. But is Golden State defense, does that have anything to do with them scoring badly?
Probably part of it. What I saw was Boston really didn't move the ball around the last game. They did a lot of one-on-one. The previous game, when Brown and Tatum were double teamed, they were moving the ball around, doing about 3 passes, and they got a lot of open shots. I saw Brown and Tatum holding the ball a lot this time. And Golden State has the #1 defense in the league.
Mhm. Oh,
They were the number one defense. Boston was number 2.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way around.
well, it looked like they played pretty good defensively the other day.
I was very impressed. I was actually surprised at how well Boston or Golden State played defense. They were like Larry said, maybe because of the ball movement, but there were no open looks like they were on the first game. In the first game, those guys had wide open threes. They didn't have that in this game.
It's funny. We always talk about go back to the old days. And some people like it because they can relate to it, and some people don't like it. Talk about that's the past. I was reading an article where the same thing I'd be thinking. I think I said it to Chuck and Charles the other night. Cedric Maxwell said, back in the day, the stuff that Draymond's doing, somebody would have punched him in the face. But then I said, well, nobody never punched Rodman in the face, and he was just as bad as Draymond was.
I saw Barkley get him.
Oh,
and he got into some confrontations.
Who did?
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. You didn't call him dirty, did you? No, because he was playing for your Bulls, so you ain't call him dirty then.
Well, I thought he was.
I thought he was right there.
Right, he was right there on the edge.
No, that's you're a fan. He was with your Bulls when Michael Jordan, so he was just playing hard defense. You don't like Draymond and the Celtics. I mean, in the Warriors, so he's the dirtiest player you've seen.
I'm glad you said that and not me. I've been accused of badgering and picking on Charles, and it's not the case. But you are absolutely right.
But you're right. I don't like Golden State, and I don't like
before.
And you know why, Earl? Why you don't like him? Because LeBron lost twice too.
I know that, of course. That would be the only reason why he would dislike them. 2 of the greatest shooters in the world. One of the best teams ever played. One of the best. I ain't gonna say top 5 or top 1 and all that, but they're a very great team. You know, like they shut down LeBron. That's all.
You know, we dance around something too. You know, the league wants this thing to go, and Larry does too. Wants this thing to go 7 games. And I'm telling you, I know it's such an easy thing to say, and that's right. I have to be more specific, but I almost wondered how that game was called. I just think it
game 2.
Game 2 that they didn't the league everybody. I thought they were all in on it. I do, and it'll be interesting to see how that thing is called early in tonight's game. I'm glad
David not here. Larry, he had a heart attack in South.
First of all, Boston was not winning game 2.
That's interesting that you would say it like that, though. Is it because of what?
Because they have a champion's heart, a champion's medal. They have been to the finals before. The guys have multiple rings. They were not losing game 2. I don't care if you put Bird, Chamberlain, Magic, and that crew out. They were not losing that game. That's a champion's heart right there. And for people just to say they wanted to go 7 games. And part 2 of that, Boston being as young as they are, they like, we got what we wanted. We got our split. They were not winning that game. I knew that game was going to be one you could turn off in the third quarter, like most of the playoffs in Miami was. It's going to be a blowout. They were not. That's a championship. That's a champion's heart at work right there.
Okay.
I certainly didn't think they was going to roll over. Even though I picked Boston to win, I don't think it's going to be easy. So,
I mean, he cleared the bench. He had guys like Chuck in with 9 minutes to go. I mean, what we talking about here? What we talking about? By the way,
we're not even trying to win. Sorry, viewers. That was an inside joke. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. By the way, hey Chuck, you know whose birthday is today?
Who?
Oh, I'm surprised you don't know. Bubba Chuck, baby.
Oh, Allen Iverson's.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Is this the year he gets his pension, or he had a couple more years ago?
His pension.
He signed a deal with Reebok.
Some money away. They put some money away.
At a certain age, he gets $32 million.
Oh, that pension. I was going to say he got the NBA pension.
I don't think it was called a pension. I think it was.
But you know what, Earl? He's making money though now in different other sources. In fact, he's even in on a marijuana thing where he's making money. He's doing advertising again with Reebok, and he's doing okay.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my question.
I know. I don't know if this kicked in.
I know Allen. I know Allen personally. I know what he's doing.
I was worried. We were all worried about him for a while.
Yeah.
Financially.
I'm sorry, I didn't throw that in there. That's my guy.
Oh, Phyllis had another comment. Okay. What she got there? Can anybody read that? I can't read it.
What are the chances of Golden State winning the next two in Boston?
Wow.
Look at Chuck.
That's a good question, Phil. I would say
I look for Boston. I look for Boston to win at least one of these next two games.
It'll be 3-1 heading back to Golden State.
Listen to
Chuck. Are you serious, Charles?
He does not like Golden State.
Okay. Individually, gentlemen. Charles, who's winning the game tonight?
Boston.
Kevin, who's winning the game tonight?
Golden State. Golden State.
Larry.
Boston.
I like Golden State.
My man Earl.
I looked at that earlier. They had a poll. 80% of America or whoever votes on these polls had Boston winning tonight. 80%.
And if Karen is watching, I have much respect for Golden State. I like the East this year. You know, I have much respect for Golden State. And I probably was talking about Phoenix there because I thought Phoenix was going to win the West.
Same.
If Karen's watching, tell her I said hello. I always ask about her, and Chuck always says, I don't know what she's doing.
Chuck don't know what he's doing half the time, so don't put that against him. I love Chuck. I love Chuck. He's such an easy mark. I mean, he's such a good guy.
Oh, no.
Remember one last thing. Golden State scored 33 points off of turnovers. Boston had 19 turnovers. If they just cut that down, that whole thing. So I believe that's something that's going to be an area of emphasis tonight.
Hey Chuck, who is Boston's point guard?
I know that's a good. He didn't play well the other night. It's Marcus Smart, and he did not play well the other night.
He's not a true point guard, so that's why they have a turnover.
He's not bad.
He's not a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a defensive MVP, but he ain't a point guard.
Well, I tell you what, I think he's more of a point guard than a defensive MVP because who is he shutting down?
You don't expect him to shut down Curry, do you?
Slow him down. I mean,
Golden State moves around and they set a lot of picks.
It's
and
hard.
Boston switches a lot. So he's really not being matched up against them that much. Maybe some people think that maybe he should make it a point to stick with him more.
Wow, that was deep, Larry. You a lot smarter than you look, baby.
And that's another thing. Poole played better in game 2 than he did in game 1 too, and that was a big.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he played a lot.
Well,
better.
You know what? The sports doctor says tonight, Poole and Klay Thompson, along with Steph, will have a good game.
Man, you know what, man?
Translation: lights out.
Yeah, he has to because Thompson has struggled both games, and I don't know. Chuck said this after game 1 that he said that Golden State looked old and unathletic, and that fit Thompson to a T because even game 2, he needs help getting the shot off for a screen. I don't see him beating nobody one-on-one. I'm not sure if it knees there or he's just lost a step. So he
gets going, but sometimes he can get going. And
he had the 2 games.
He's just going when he has open shots. I think if they have somebody in his jersey, he's not going to go by him.
Right. And Boston could do that, like you said. He's number 1 and number 2 in the league. So
he'll score 20 tonight at least.
My man.
I don't care whether he can shake nobody, break nobody, or whatever.
He better hope Poole and Curry are hitting shots because if both of them not hitting shots, he's not going 20.
Thank you, Larry Abels.
I don't have to hope nothing. The sports doctor has spoken. I already hope. Now when Golden State wins tomorrow, and then when Klay Thompson scores over 20, we'll talk about that next week. Let me ask you this question while I have you here, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that Steve Kerr is a good coach?
Absolutely. I think he's an excellent coach. This is a different team. All his teams were different. I think he knows the room. He knows the players. He knows what how to motivate them. I think more so than X and O's, he knows men and what the buttons to push. I think he's an excellent coach, and he's just you know what? Normally, I pull for the black coaches, but Kerr is such a heavy, articulate, caring, understanding man. I mean, the breakdown that he had after the shooting in Texas, I just think he's a beautiful cat. And I think he's an excellent, excellent coach. And people are criticizing him, especially after game one, that he didn't do this and that. I'm like, man, what? This is
Yeah, I was one of them. I was one of them.
You're one of them. So that was a
I told Larry what adjustments he needed to make. He made them exactly to the T of what I said, and they won. I don't think he's a good coach, Kevin.
Why?
I had brought up that he didn't play. He played Iguodala and didn't play Peyton.
Yeah,
and Iguodala, he's out of shape. I mean, it's that simple, But I think I heard him later say, Earl, that he didn't think Peyton was ready to play Sunday.
Well, why have him suit up? What's the purpose of having somebody suit up that can't play?
Good question. Good question. Iguodala didn't look like he was ready to play either.
The reverse happened in game two, too. Peyton played and Iguodala didn't suit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Peyton was
because one of Steve Kerr's assistants was listening to our show and said, the sports doctor said, you're not playing Kuminga and Peyton.
Here's what I think Kerr is a good coach. I do. But lucky him to inherit the Splash Brothers. In other words, Mark Jackson, he got those two guys going. And now they've built around, and I guess they had Draymond too at the time. And so he's inherited a nice situation. That's all I'm saying.
I think so too. I think he inherited them in their prime because he had a choice between going there in New York. We would really found out if he was a good coach if he went to New York.
Exactly.
But part of being a good coach is even if you get a good team, part of being a good coach is not to mess up that good team.
No doubt.
I mean, look, they got something they got to deal with because he's not only a good coach and inherited a good team, but the ownership there are willing to spend the money. So they went out and got players, Wiggins, all those guys. And right now they got to pay again on Poole. And I heard something recently where the league doesn't like the fact that Golden State can go, I guess, way over the cap or something. But there's a big controversy about how much money Golden State can spend based on the rules of the league or something. I heard something recently about that.
As long as they pay the luxury tax.
There was something else about that, though. I'm telling you, the league is not. There were other teams that are big time unhappy with what Golden State is getting ready to execute. They got some. I mean, that team is talented, man. I mean, that team on paper. Wiggins was the number one pick.
He's played very well too.
And
he's a good defender. He's a very good defender. He gives Tatum a hard time because when they had Peyton on Tatum, Tatum was shooting over Peyton. Once they put Wiggins on there, that 21 points in the first half was a lot less in the second half.
Right. He can slash. He can knock down a shot every now and then. They got a good team.
Wow. Chuck,
they're not going to win this series, though.
Hey, Chuck asked for some butter on him. I'm impressed, Chuck.
Hey.
My man.
Okay.
Chuck's emotions are always raw, baby. Right there on the sleeve.
I got facts to back it up too. I mean, I can defend it.
Who we like for tonight, guys? Did we go over that?
Yeah, we did. Boston. Yeah. Two for Boston, two for Boston, and two for Golden State. You and Kevin, I think, are taking Golden State, and me and Larry are taking Boston.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll get through with this close to ending the show. Chuck, who do you like to win the rest of the series? To win, not the rest of the series. Who do you like to win the series?
Yeah, my view has not changed. Boston will win the series. Champ.
Tough call here. But I was with the East all year. So I'm gonna stick with them. Tough call here, though.
Kevin McNutt.
I agree with a tough call, but I'm gonna go with experience.
Okay.
Golden State.
How about you, sports doctor?
Golden State. It might go in 6. I thought after the first game it had to go 7. It might go in 6 because what Felix asked, it could just happen. They might win the next 2 games.
Must be crazy.
So that'll mean Golden State will win it on Boston's floor then, if that's true.
No,
okay.
If it goes in 6.
Once they got the second game, that pressure was a lot different than they got that second game.
Adjustments will be made in the third game too, Earl. Just like adjustments.
No adjustments with Poole, Clay, and Kerr on. Ain't no adjustment.
Really? Because Golden State made adjustments.
Which I question, guys. So everybody's making a big furor over Boston coming out flat in third quarters and getting outscored and so forth and so on. Is that a reflection of the coach? What do you think that's about?
I think you one thing with some other people that I talked to not on this show, I'm a big proponent of experienced players too. And I think it's their inexperience. Really, when I look at Boston, even though they had a pretty tough journey there, I really look at them as a team that's 1 year away. You know, and perhaps if Milwaukee had their full complement of players, that would have been the case. Their stars are still only 24 and 25 years old, and youth is generally not consistent. You know, inconsistent. Experienced players usually more consistent.
So here's the thing. That's a good point Larry made, right?
Yep.
So if Tatum is first team All NBA, which he was, let's see. Let's it's time, Jason. It's time. You were first team All NBA, just like Booker was first team All NBA, and he laid an egg in Game 7 for Phoenix. So it's time to step up, and I think Tatum will make the adjustment. I also think there's something wrong with Tatum's shoulder. I noticed he was grabbing that shoulder a lot.
Hey, Kevin, Charles, everybody's hurt. Come on.
I think, when I look at Tatum, he has been rather inconsistent the whole playoffs. I mean,
even though he had 28 the other night, it wasn't a.
No, so he'll have 30 one night, and then he'll shoot 3 for 17. I mean, he seems to bounce back, and I'm looking for him to bounce back tonight. But more experienced players generally are more consistent. They might have anybody can have one bad game,
right?
He's not bouncing back tonight. He almost scored almost 30 the other night. He ain't bouncing back tonight.
But it wasn't.
I'm talking about. You're right. I mean,
30.
Consistent is what I'm hoping.
Well, Larry said it perfectly, right? Larry said it. I don't even know why. Larry said it perfectly. If Marcus Smart's going to have 2, if Al Horford's going to have 2, and if Williams, who starts the big center, and he ain't right, if he has 2, if those 3 guys have only 2 again, we do have a problem. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Let me ask you this, Kevin. When I was growing up, it was most people in our neighborhood or just in D.C., black people in D.C., they never rooted for DeMatha or the Boston Celtics. Can you understand how any black people are voting? And I'm not trying to make this a race thing. I guess I am. Really. Maybe I am.
You came to the right one because I'm a raceologist. I'm a sports raceologist. You come to the right one.
Do you know any average black people that root for the Boston team?
John Thompson.
For the Boston team.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good question because that's always been a hard sell dealing with Boston.
It's the most racist town in the country. Yeah, I don't know why somebody would vote for them.
They have a mixed history.
Yes.
They were the first team to hire a black coach, the first team to start 5 black players.
Yep.
But I know what happened in the 80s. They were America's team because they had all those white ball players, and the Lakers were Black Americans team because they had all the black ball players. And it was you had to like LA if you were black.
Maybe I'm not being fair because my only time being in Boston, and it's not a myth. This happened. A police post over and said, "Why are you in this neighborhood? You're in the wrong neighborhood, buddy." Okay, I never forgot that.
That happened to me in Prince George's County.
I know, right?
Oh, I know. That's why I hate Maryland and Virginia right now.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I
Prince
won't
George's County is Chocolate City now, man. Chocolate City now.
Yeah, but the PG County and Montgomery County are 2 of the 3 most racist police forces in the country. Period. You can look up the stats if you want. They're not no stats, but
I would be surprised. I would be surprised about that.
You can't ask us 3, Earl, about DeMatha because that's unfair.
No, I'm just not. No,
the 3 of us, we're not DeMatha. We went.
The average black person didn't like DeMatha, not because there were white people who went to school, it's because DeMatha always got the call. That's all. It hasn't anything to do with black or white.
I mean, but you look at Boston's teams. Look at their football team. The Patriots. Have you seen a team with as many white wide receivers as they have?
Well, this is such a slippery slope here.
No, I mean, have you seen it? The bottom line is they win, so what difference does it
Right,
make?
exactly. Who cares? Who
But
cares?
they seem to have a disproportionate number. I mean, I think they're playing to the population up there. I mean, if you can beat the population and win, that's the key to success.
So are we done with the NBA, gentlemen, or do you have anything you want to add, Charles or Kevin or Larry, before we move on?
No,
We picked who's going to win tonight, and we also picked who we thought was going to win the series.
Yeah.
Hey, what else you got, man?
For NBA
Or anything?
Oh, I got some other stuff. I just want to make
I
sure.
think we're done with that.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Okay. I don't have a life, so I'm always on Facebook looking at the feeds and everything, and I see this feed where the Washington Commanders defensive coach Jack Del Rio is trying to equate
January 6th.
monkeypox. He's January 6th.
Huh?
Yeah, help me out there, Larry. You usually help me out when
He said, he thought January 6th was his dust up, and he came with the classic "whataboutism." What about when the riots when George Floyd was killed? Why are we investigating that? I wanted to tell him some people were arrested for that stuff. Just like January 6th, some people were arrested.
Yeah.
Jack Del Rio, I don't know what made him say that. I think he's ignorant. He's not informed. Not right. What did I say in our chat? He's an idiot. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And he's uninformed. And one thing that jumps out at me when the January 6th event went down was the Washington Post reported that the DC police arrested a guy where they had to bring a Russian interpreter to tell him what his rights were. So I say this to say, who knows who was in that crowd, and the type of top security stuff that goes on in the Capitol. They're taking Nancy Pelosi's laptop and all of that. This is a major thing, and it's certainly a threat to our democracy. But back to the football thing, I don't see how any black person of any social consciousness is not going to have a problem with him making that statement. And I don't know why he made it.
Well, you know why he made it, but
Well, I think
we can harbor all types of thoughts, but why bring it to work and especially tweet it out? I don't get it.
because when you're a redneck racist dog, you don't care about that kind of stuff, right?
If you like getting paid, you
You don't
should.
care about the repercussions or anything. You don't care.
Okay. Well, I was somewhat rhetorically asking. So I said I don't know why I said it.
I guess the only edgy thing I would say is, even if people had thoughts like Jack Del Rio voiced, there was a time they would keep that to themselves. And I think, I'm sorry, but the previous president allowed people now to just say what they want to say. People just say it, they say anything now. And it didn't used to always be the case. And I just think it's harmful. I do. You have the right to say it. Yes, it's America's. You have the right. But what good does that do? And that's so ridiculous, a dust up. I've never seen anything like that. They stormed the Capitol. People got killed. They were setting up a lynching booth where they were trying to get the vice president and was going to lynch him. I mean, a dust up? Come on.
Policemen were killed. So here's the thing now. He's a defensive coordinator. On defense on the Redskins, we know the front forward, Chase and all those cats are brothers. We know the linebacker core, and we definitely know the secondary is. So he's working with probably 10 or 11 of the starters on defense, and then you got the bench personnel, are all defensive players. Then you're going to say that all into your black staff, your black workforce. And and so this cat wants to be a head coach or wonder why his guys want to have all buy-in and the Redskins will suffer. That's just foolish. You got to know your room. You got to know your players. You got to know your audience. Keep that to yourself. Some things are better left unsaid. Now, he feels beholden and empowered to do that. Like Chuck said, Trump is one. And also the Trump of sports is his owner, Daniel Snyder. And he's a slime ball and a racist. So he feels beholden. He can say what he wants to. So he's like, I got cover from the owner. He and I, we walk, we drink, we do it. We hang out in the same circle. So he's good.
Wait a minute. Right.
Hey, Kevin, is the owner really giving you the impression that he's a racist?
Read about Daniel Stein. See, don't get lost because he hired a black vice president, and he's got Rivera, and he's got a female coach, running back coach, and all that stuff. All that happened because he was frantic and afraid that they're going to snatch his franchise. That's when there was a revolt with his other owners. So he knew, I got to do something here. I got to clean up. So let me go get the black folks.
So, I mean, he made them draft Dwayne Haskins, RG3, sent his limo to pick RG3 and his wife, who happened to be white.
The black
give him Ransom James.
Oh, so who you want to
give?
Gave
Bruce Smith money, gave Dion money.
Foolish money. What is that?
That's not
the league is 85% black. So he goes to the point.
The point is
that is the point.
I don't like him much.
You said he was a racist, and we're trying to figure out what makes you say that he is a racist.
Right. I don't like him much. I was asking a question.
I'll start there. 20 years, he said, until he hired Wright and all these other I shouldn't say tokens. I'll stop there. What has he done 19 years prior to? Getting Bruce Smith and Dion was foolish money they shouldn't paid. And again, that was to pamper his ego. That's black players. So he got Griffin. We had 10 black quarterbacks. I don't understand that. I mean, if you want to win this league, you better get back black players.
But he made those decisions with Griffin and Haskins against the staff with his coach and general manager. They didn't want to do that. He made that call.
And that's why his teams have missed the playoffs, but made the playoffs once out of the last 12 years.
With the racism, we're trying to deal with the racism part.
Just look at 19 years, and he had no black management. He had one black coach, and that was the
talking about Rubisky.
Yeah, Rubisky the intern for 3 games.
But one of Ray Rose is somebody. Ray Rose turned him down. Ray Rose turned him down because he was on and he was going to bring him, and he just told him, he didn't want to work for him.
You say. I have no favor for him. Okay. He's the Donald Trump of sports.
I'm not saying he's not.
No, I don't like him. I think he's probably the Donald Trump human being.
Hmm?
Well, put it this way. I guess my point, I always think people can harbor whatever feelings they want as long as they keep it inside. And actions haven't necessarily made me think he's racist. He might be a misogynist and a whole bunch of other stuff.
A moron and a womanizer.
Wait. Why stop there? So what you just said, all these other things that he's done, he's cheated, he's all those other things, but he likes black people. Okay.
No, I don't know if he likes black people. I just haven't seen him treat them particularly bad.
He pays well. But he don't win, and the brothers.
I'm not a member of his fan club. I'm not his fan club. I wish he was out of here.
Dig it, and he should be.
Okay, Larry, is there an update with the cheap ass learners on hiring their players?
The problem I have with the Nats is they they said they weren't going to trade. Rizzo said they weren't going to trade Soto, but they're going to get rid of Bell and Cruz at the trade deadline because they're not going to win anything, and they're in the last year of their contracts. I wish they re-signed Bell. I don't mind them getting rid of Cruz, but they showed a propensity not to sign homegrown talent. It's no way they should be rebuilding the way they are now. They've let Harper, Rendon, and Turner all go in their prime. All in their prime. They should have kept at least 2 out of 3 of them.
That's how Charles sports teams do here in the district. They're inept and horrible. But don't tell him that, though.
I like the Nats. I do like, yeah. But before we move on, though, and Earl, I know it's your show, and I apologize, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but
hey, Charles, you can move on anytime you want to.
But I want to get our thoughts or the group's thoughts on Deshaun Watson. I had an interesting conversation with my daughter, and so I just want to know what the group thinks of the Deshaun Watson situation. Is it too hot to touch?
No, I mean, all these people bringing forth these allegations against him. I think he clearly, to me, it appears that he's clearly was contacting these people hoping for sexual favors. and some of them were offended. I don't think he raped anybody. There are no criminal charges against him.
Right.
But I think he's, tried to coerce them, and where do you draw the line? When does no mean no, and whatever,
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, you're right.
But
See, I'm so naive. Here I'm thinking, oh, this guy didn't do anything.
24 people.
The ownership was just trying to get a couple of girls to say something because he didn't want to play for Houston. That's how dumb I was. But when 24, not 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's up to 66 now.
66.
Oh, wow.
When
It's
60,
up to 66.
do you have enough money to pay that many people off? Damn, I mean, something's going on. Something's going on.
Yeah. Earl, I agree with you when it first hit because he's been squeaky clean ever since he left Clemson. So when they just hit and he said, I'll never play here again. So I'm saying, okay, set up time and all that. You up 24 and now 66. And I have not read the New York Times article, which everybody says is fabulous. The NFL is going to look real bad if he's out there on starting week 1. Matter of fact, week 2, week 6. He should be gone at least half the season, if not the whole season. And I know there's no criminal charges yet, right. But this is
they presented it to the grand jury, and the grand jury, which somehow prosecutes a ham sandwich, and when you present them information, there's no legal. And by the way, you would think, and again, this is where my daughter and I were differing on. I said, look, the Cleveland people went down there and investigated this stuff thoroughly. They probably had women lawyers on that staff. I went down and to hand this guy $230 million, you would think they had done their due diligence. And she was like, Dad, don't be naive. This is bad, Dad. This is really bad. Then she cited the New York Times, and I said, well, it was the same New York Times that said Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. That doesn't mean they always right either. I don't know. I don't know enough.
Well, right.
It just seems
66 is a big number, in the New York Times.
So is $230 million.
Right. Well, they didn't look. So you think they gave him $230 million and they did their due diligence and didn't realize it was 66 or knew it was 66 and still pay him $230?
Maybe they knew.
I think so. I think they foolish. Especially they probably got the idea wasn't going to be any criminal charges. They're like, we could ride this out.
No, watch this.
If he was Ray Rice, he wouldn't be playing. But
listen, gentlemen, watch this. The NFL devotes a month to breast cancer month. The guys wear pink shoes and pink socks and flags and all that kind of stuff. And so you're going to do that, trying to encourage women to become fans and all that stuff. And then you're going to run around and have this guy starting on opening day or even half the season with 66 women accusing him of what he's done. And I'm telling you, read what he has done.
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger got suspended for exposing himself, right?
And I think he did maybe more. I don't even know.
Now Brett Favre was accused of something too, and I don't know if anything happened to him. I think he was accused of sending pictures.
And Antonio Brown's been in trouble a lot. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to defend Watson. I'm not. I just wanted to know you guys' reaction, because my daughter's reaction is like
perfect. I mean, she's a female that's a fan, and she going. Basically, I could bet she's saying, I ain't watching no football. He's out there on opening day.
I don't know if she said that, but she
didn't think there will be some, right? And it should be some like us that should, but we won't. But who say I ain't watching football, I ain't watching Cleveland, but that's cosmetic. But yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack it, Earl. Hijack the show on that.
Hey, come on, Carl. We all having a show. We all having fun. Man. This ain't my show. This ain't last show. Damn, ain't Charles' show. But we just having fun. We just having fun, man. That's all.
Right.
Okay. So, y'all are crazy, man. Okay, so let's go with the closing remarks if anybody has any. Charles, do you have any?
I don't have any this week. But thank you for asking.
All right. Kevin, do you have anything to add on? We said we weren't going to touch it, but we kind of got into it kind of heavy.
Well, look, you know the story about Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. Now, folks don't know Tim Anderson's a brother playing for the Chicago White Sox. Josh Donaldson is a Yankee. my thing, what I'm getting ready to say, is got nothing to do with Tim Anderson. If it was Klay Thompson or Curry or Durant, I would have the same feeling. But just to let you know what happened here, Anderson and Donaldson don't like each other. They beefing strong.
Right.
Donaldson called him Jackie, and he was offended and hurt because he called him Jackie. My thing is, dude, you know he didn't like you. You don't like him. Call him a name back. Call him Ty Cobb or some other things. Go ahead and get that rumble on. Take your final walk. Don't come crying to me about Jackie. And so my thing is, it's several factors. The league suspended Donaldson for a game. They had to jump in. We want diversity and all that. That was cosmetic.
Ooh.
He should. I am so mad at Anderson for saying hurt by Jackie. And understand, especially because we are baby boomers. We are black men of baby boomers. And we know we were there when King marched here in D.C., when King died. We have been called everything in the book. We have been, lynching is on the book. And by the way, this happened 1 week after Buffalo. And you gonna let that get into your heart because that white man called you Jackie, which you said you were 6 months ago, earlier? Get out of here, man. That is SOFT with caps. That is soft. That is embarrassing to me and insulting to me for all we've been through to sit up there and let yourself be called Jackie and let that penetrate to you where you got hurt. No, you can't. And that's a pampered millionaire, and we have not struggled, and the struggle continues. So some pampered millionaire can say, ask him about Jackie. Ask him what else he knows about Jackie. Maybe he saw 42. But he know Jackie went to UCLA. What else did Jackie stand for? Does he know about who Muhammad Ali and what he went through? I mean, it's just, did he know that lynching is on the books in 1963 when we were 6 and 7 years old? So I went to my wife, who's a school teacher for 18 years, and she said, no, don't be mad at him. You should be mad at parents because he has not been educated by his family members because he ain't going to get it at school. So where's he supposed to learn about our Black history? I said, okay. Go ahead.
Bring the heat.
I guess I won't be back, but that's okay. Look, hey, go Earl. I ain't be a referee for 35 years because I wanted to be liked. You know what I'm saying?
Well, some way I can kind of relate to you, but yeah, that was kind of heavy. All right, Larry, do you?
Yeah, I just have one brief comment. You know, it's been a lot of talk about the new golf association. And golf is playing for that, and people are upset about that. But I'm really, I'm stepping back, saying, why are people so upset about that? I understand Saudi Arabia's history, and they certainly killed the part of their repressive regime.
In the post,
But is this really being pushed out by the PGA because they compete with them for their players?
Squeaky clean, because they're squeaky clean.
Oh, their history is not that. They
Exactly.
were their premier tournament at the Masters, which until a few years ago didn't even have any black or women members there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out. These guys are offering more money than the PGA. Is this really the PGA pushing it? Even though I know other media outlets have gotten behind it. And again, I don't like the Saudis. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But is the PGA really that much better? That's my question that I'll throw out there.
The PGA just made a twist too. They said now those people who they said that before they couldn't, but then now they said even if you're in that league, you can still compete in the majors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all some of those great players want to do anyway, quite frankly.
You know, get paid.
Yeah.
They get paid. Their purses are crazy.
Yeah. That's why they're signing up over there.
And they're independent contractors. So, hey man.
What's the big deal?
Well, I mean, again, the Saudis are a repressive regime.
Of course, they're not good people.
No doubt about that.
But I guess I've just found out from Kevin McNutt that maybe we have some owners of pro teams here that aren't good people too. So,
you just understanding that?
Yeah.
Well,
and I want Biden to go over there, be nice to them to keep gas prices down. So
right.
Maybe we can reach some agreement. We'll let them play golf. Lower the gas prices.
Okay, guys, we're about ready to wrap this thing up because
this game time, right?
we're leaving way. We're going out of our sports realm into politics. But I know all this sports on sports. They interact. I got that. I'm just going to end it with this one. They say $20 million will almost solve $20 billion will almost solve our homeless problem in the United States. $20 billion. They just gave $40 billion to Ukraine.
Watch out, soldier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I don't want to get into no politics.
Earl.
Thank you, baby.
And I don't see. Don't get me started.
He's evolving, Earl, isn't he?
No, I'm just saying.
There was once upon a time you would say, "What does that have to do with sports?"
It doesn't have anything to do with sports. It has nothing to do with sports. But we were on the subject of politics at the time.
I know, but I like
that
it.
ain't got nothing to do with it. Just like the reason why Obama's not the greatest to me is because he didn't do anything about the water situation in Michigan. But that ain't got nothing to do with sports. But we were talking about politics.
I like it. I like it though, Earl. I like it.
Kevin, we have to have you come back again.
Man, look.
Watch this is his Ali statement. Go ahead.
One thing I would say, man. I love this show. I love you guys. Y'all got a whole lot of style. But what y'all pay, I'm gonna be back for a while.
You'll probably be playing over in the Saudi Golf League, see, because we can't match it.
I knew where he was going. I knew exactly where he was going.
So, Kevin, before we go, are we sure that St. Anthony would have beat the Mantha back then? Are we sure?
Man, it would have been a rout, man.
My sources tell me Dantley would have been poked all the St. Anthony big men. I don't believe that.
He would have got 20, but the rest of them, we'd have locked the rest of them down.
Because I don't think Maryland.
Did you hear that, Kenny Roy? We'd have locked you down.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys.
Billy Langlow.
Go, Chuck, go.
All right, guys. Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
All right, man. Enjoy, y'all.
Good job, Earl. Good job,
Kevin.
Very good job.
Go, Al. The legend.
Larry, always a pleasure, Larry. Charles, great to see you. It's always good to see you.
It's my favorite time of the week.
I don't know whether it's because Kevin was on the show or not, but you didn't say anything blasphemous this episode. Maybe because Kevin got your ass like I do, and you just felt ganged up on. But it was a great show. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. And next week we will have Larry Abels as the moderator. Kevin will be coming back. We'll try to get Kevin to come back before the playoffs is over. And I hope everybody has a very blessed, productive
Shout out to David Burnett. We miss you.
Yeah, we miss David.
Right, David. We hope all is going well.
Yes. All right, guys.
All right, give me a tip off later, guys.
All right, later.